educating the world's children is an inspiration to all of us. President Kenyatta.
Your Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, the 2021 RewirEd Global Education Summit provides a platform to restate our collective commitment to ensuring quality education and lifelong learning for all, and to re-establish education at the center of the global development agenda and the post-COVID-19 recovery narrative. I take this opportunity to thank Dubai Cares Expo 2020 Dubai, the United Arab Emirates government, and our partners, Education Development Trust and GPE, for convening this important session. Ladies and gentlemen, despite significant progress in broadening access to education across the world, millions of young people lack the basic literacy, numeracy, and soft skills to meet the demands of a modern economy, left alone to manage an increasingly uncertain future. Available evidence indicates that about half of our young people fail to achieve minimum learning standards. The COVID-19 pandemic has aggravated the learning crisis and intensified social economic inequalities in education. Failure to reverse this trajectory will unfortunately lead to a lost generation and irreparably widen existing inequalities within nations and between rich and developing countries. Further, the learning crisis, if not resolved urgently, will constrain global efforts to build human capital and hinder our collective realization of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. So, ladies and gentlemen, I strongly believe in the transformative power of education. At the societal level, education promotes healthy populations, social progress, and peaceful and sustainable development of our planet. Girls' education in particular is a best buy, in that it ensures the health and welfare of the next generation. It is unfortunate, therefore, that over the last 2 years, funding for education has received inadequate attention as countries have been forced to grapple with COVID-related health and economic crises. According to UNESCO, only 2% of the global COVID-19 stimulus funding has been earmarked for education, and a substantial number of low-income countries have not reserved any allocation for education in their fiscal response to the pandemic. It is against this backdrop that I join hands with the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson, to lead the GPA replenishment campaign and to co-host the 2021 Global Education Summit in London this past July. So, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, one of the most noteworthy achievements of the GPE replenishment campaign was the launch of the call to action of domestic financing for education, which we call the Kenyatta Declaration. 19 heads of state and government responded to my request to endorse the declaration in time for the Global Education Summit in July of this year. I am personally proud to be associated with this declaration. The Kenyatta Declaration reflects a recognition by leaders that financing education is fundamentally a national responsibility. The declaration also demonstrates our resolve as leaders of developing nations to invest in the future of our children. This at a time when these investments are most needed. The three key tenets of the Kenyatta Declaration are volume, efficiency, and equity. Kenya is leading by example and has maintained education funding at about 25% of total government budget. So, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to learn that an additional number of heads of state will join the GPE Heads of State call to action on domestic financing, and we welcome these wholeheartedly. At a time when our children face unprecedented uncertainties due to climate change, global pandemics, escalating domestic political and economic disruptions, and other challenges, as heads of state and government, as well as global leaders and responsible citizens around the world, it is our solemn duty to step up and to reassure them of our care and our concern. We owe this to our children, we owe it to our nations, we owe it to our future. I wish each and every one of you fruitful deliberations. I thank you.
Well, I thank you so much, Your Excellency, President Kenyatta, for those inspiring remarks and for your leadership. Please continue to do the good work. Ladies and gentlemen, education must indeed be at the center of global recovery and sustainability. We cannot expect to reap the benefits of an educated generation without putting in the investment required. We must all redouble our efforts to ensure financing for education is higher on the political agenda, both in our home countries and internationally. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Patrick Brazier, CEO of Education Development Trust, who will moderate the intergenerational dialogue